What's up, y'all? So today we're going to be talking about which athletes are fitter, soccer or volleyball. So if you're new to my channel, I've actually started a little tournament with the most popular sports on Google, aside from cricket that is. In last week's video, we talked about track versus table tennis. But today we're going to be comparing soccer athletes and volleyball athletes. So let's not waste any more time and start talking about soccer. Now, before I continue, I call soccer football myself just because I was born and grew up in England. So that's tried and true to me. But soccer is mainly known as football outside of the US. It's played on a pitch which is around 100 to 110 meters in length and 64 to 75 meters in width. The objective? To score the most points at the end of the match. And you do that by beating the goalkeeper on the opposing side. Now that we got the easy stuff out the way, let's actually talk about the athletes themselves. The average height of a soccer player is between 5'10 and 6 foot. The taller players tending to be the goalkeepers, which is normally around 6'2". But it really does kind of depend on your position. It can also slightly determine your strengths and your weaknesses. But for the most part, training for these players are normally the same, focusing on technical skills, dribbling, speed and agility training too. Some key points that make soccer stand out to some other sports are the fact that they run up and down the field the entire game. Now, they do have substitutions, and not every player is doing that, like the defenders predominantly being on the side of the goalkeeper on that team, as well as the strikers being the driving force when it comes to contributing to goals on the other end. Midfielders, however, have the entire field, which means that normally they have to be pretty well conditioned to be able to run for that much, especially when it comes to going back and forth on such a large field for around 90 minutes, and that's excluding overtime as well. As you know though, they do have substitutions as well, but that doesn't take away from the fact that they run a lot, which leads me into which muscles they use, which is legs. The lower body is a predominantly trained muscle when it comes to soccer players. They also use core muscles as well, but it heavily weighs on cardio and legs. So to round up, when talking about the average soccer athlete, I'm going to rate them as a fitness level of 8 out of 10. Moving on to volleyball though, it is a team sport where 2 teams of 6 players try to score points by having the ball hit the floor on the opposing side. They play on a court which is about 18 meters long and 9 meters width, which is a huge difference when it comes to the soccer field. When getting into the players though, volleyball is a highly agile, strategic, and quick thinking sport. Because there are so many athletes on the floor at the same time, it forces their team dynamic to play a vital role in order to succeed. Everyone needs to know which area of the court is theirs, so that they don't accidentally cover somebody else's ground. The confusing part though is that these areas change depending on certain circumstances. For example, somebody getting a save and then needing an alternate to fill in the spot until they're ready to get back. Or even the middle blocker not getting a block and needing another position to set or spike the ball. When it comes to volleyball though, these athletes jump a lot. And it's no surprise really, because the nets are normally above 7 feet tall. I never played volleyball, but after doing this research, it's definitely a sport that I wish I would have played a little bit more growing up. It's also a very fun beach game to play with a bunch of friends. But when talking about muscles being used for volleyball, lower body, core, upper body, all of them are used. And as far as exercises and training is concerned, improving explosiveness and jumping. Exercises like box jumps, jump squats, and burpees are suggested for volleyball players. Reaction speed is really big too, but is it more required than soccer? So it's time. Let's go over the results. When it comes to muscles involved, volleyball takes that. When it comes to performance though, I'm gonna have to give it a tie. Mainly because both sports could make a case for why either sport is more performance-based than the other one. Stamina is gonna go to soccer though. Reaction time though, I'm giving that to volleyball. Strength is a tricky one though, but the good thing is that both sports predominantly uses legs. And although it kinda is between running and kicking and jumping, I'm going to side with soccer on this one. Specifically because the distance traveled within a game. And finally, we have difficulty. Now, if you haven't seen the last video, the way I base difficulty is strictly based on which sport will tire the average person out more if they were to play it for 10 minutes. And I will be giving that to soccer or football. So I want you all to know that my answers are my opinions. It is not definitive at all. So if you feel like volleyball should have won, let me know down in the comments. And if you're happy that soccer won, congratulations. They will be moving on to round 2 against track. But anyways, y'all, thank thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments whether you agree with my opinion or not. Anyways, y'all have a great week. Peace.